Hi guys, and welcome to the first video in a little bit. I did not get all of my reading done for the month of June. So this video is going to be kind of like a little reading and life update wrapped into one. So, and I think I'm going to put this one out before my July TBR. I am going to go ahead and play the game. I did not get everything read from my June TBR, but I am not going to take a punishment, and probably not for the next couple of months. I like having some direction as far as what to read, but I have been in a massive reading slump, and this was caused by severe back pain. So when I was like, I don't know, like 20, 21, I had a spinal fusion because I do have scoliosis, and it got to the point that if it continued to, the curves in my back, there's two curves, if they continued to get worse, it would have gotten to where they would have started to curve around in an additional way to where it would start to gather your organs, kind of mush them. So I had to have a spinal fusion. It was just the top curve, and that's created extra pressure on my lower back, which is full of arthritis from that, and I know that my excess weight definitely does not help that. I've had to try and keep on top of this chronic pain. Ablations, which lasted for about 2 years. I can do like two a year on those, and then the following 2 years, when they didn't seem to be working quite as well, they introduced doing epidurals on my back. So I would do an ablation and then an epidural and just kind of alternate between them. Because I can do 4 epidurals in a year and 2 ablations in a year. So that's where it stood, and it is no longer working. So my reading slump has been due to excessive pain. I'm finally on a different set of medication to help keep it more manageable. So I finally feel like reading a little bit. I'm still kind of not in the mood, but yet I am. And I don't know how long this is going to last. This pain is so bad that it affects my sleep. I'm not getting good night's sleeps. Sometimes I don't fall asleep until about 3 or 4 in the morning because of the pain, despite taking medication and muscle relaxers to try and reduce the pain. Sometimes it just doesn't work, and sometimes it keeps it manageable. Like on a scale, you know, when you go to the doctors and they're like, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the best, 10 being the worst. Before this set of medication, I was constantly at like a pain level 8 or 9, so pretty bad. I'm now at like a 6 or a 7, so the medicine has helped a little bit. The next step, I did have an epidural, which has helped kind of keep it just a little in the 6 or 7 range. But what the doctor wants to do now at this point is he'd have to do surgery to install a spinal cord stimulator. So it's like wires running up through your spine, and then there's a battery pack installed or surgically implanted in your hip or butt area. So it doesn't sound too pleasant, but I had to have a psychological evaluation, and then it can take 2 to 3 weeks to get that paperwork back from there to make sure I'm making the right decision for myself, that I'm in the right frame of mind to make that decision, to go ahead with this type of surgery, for it to be approved by the insurance. And then so the insurance will approve a trial surgical procedure. So I'll have to go in on like, I don't know, at the start of the week, and the doctor will install the 2 cords, and I'll have an external battery pack, and they test to see, 1, if it'll work, and 2, how many hertz you use to try and reduce the pain, which will determine what type of battery you need. If you have one that just needs to be surgically replaced every 3 years, or one that you like tape to wherever the battery is installed on your back, hip, butt area, and charge it overnight. But I don't know how frequently you'd have to do that. So it depends on how many hertz you use, which will determine that and if it'll even work. And the test, so I'll get that installed. I have no idea yet. They don't have the paperwork from the people who did the mind evaluation. Again, that can take, they're notorious for 2 to 3 weeks. And then, so we'll get once they get that and they install the trial unit, then I have to go back at the end of the week to get it removed. So that's 2 surgeries in 1 week. But they're not too bad. He says they just do a little light sedation, but because it is a surgical thing, it does have to take place either in the hospital or at a surgical center. So my pain has been so bad, I have not been reading because I just couldn't focus. I've been trying to relax and be as comfortable as possible. But I did get some reading done. I did read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and Prince Caspian. I think I gave The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe 5 stars. Prince Caspian, I think I gave 4. I did prefer The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. But I'm not going to do individual reviews for these ones because I am buddy reading these, the Chronicles of Narnia, with Amy from Astar Reads. I'll list Amy's channel in the description box. Definitely check out her video, her channel. She does some great videos, Sunday Sum Ups, and she does a TBR Game of Life. But it's really fun. She is an awesome, awesome person, and her mom is awesome as well. Her mom makes appearances. So we were going to do, at the end of June, we were going to get together and do a discussion, which was going to be full of spoilers for the first 2 books in the Chronicles of Narnia. But Amy is also going to school, and she felt like she wasn't expending, I guess, like brain power. She explained it better to me, and I'm not explaining it very well, but she basically needed to also postpone the discussion, which works for me. So right now we're tentatively planning on the 10th. So the live show that we're going to do for the discussion of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and Prince Caspian, as of right now, is scheduled for July 10th. I don't have a time yet. We will finalize that, and we'll finalize things like that the closer it gets to that. So next week, I believe. Anyway, so for the month of July, the 2 books that I hope to get to, and I don't know if we're pushing these back or not as well. I need to double check with Amy, but the plan was to read Voyage of the Dawn Trader, and then the second book. So it's book 3. Again, these are in publication order. And then the 4th book was The Silver Chair. We were planning on reading those for the month of July, and then we would do the live discussion on my channel. But I think things are just going to get pushed back a little bit because we both need a little bit more time. So that's kind of where we are for that. So yeah. Now, the other one I am not going to do a review on is The Paradox Hotel, and the reason is I finished this quite early in June. We are now at the start of July, and it's been long enough. I don't have enough retained in my brain to really do a full review on this. I did enjoy it. If you are looking for like a science fiction adult sci-fi that has LGBT rep as well as racial diversity, this book covers both of those. So in case you're doing a readathon and it's like read a book with, you know, racial diversity and sexual diversity, you do have non-binary, you have lesbian, and those are the 2 that I know for sure that are in here. And then there's a whole bunch of racial diversity as well. I actually did really enjoy this. I don't remember what I rated it, but you can definitely check out my Goodreads, which is always going to be listed in the description box, and it'll show you the star rating. This particular edition that I have is an advanced reader's copy or an ARC. It came out on February of 2022. This particular edition, I will go ahead and unhaul it. As much as I thoroughly enjoyed it, I don't see myself rereading it, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it along to someone else. So I'll just donate it somewhere. One thing I do remember is there's this thing with velociraptors, or they're called Utah raptors, and that was mentioned in the book, and basically they appear in this hotel, and it's a multi-time dimensional thing. So yeah, so that one's, it was good. I enjoyed it, but I will donate that because I just don't see myself rereading that. I am currently reading, I have an ebook going, but it's been going all the month of June and I still haven't finished it, and I think I have like around 50 pages left, so I just kind of want to push through. But where I haven't been feeling like reading, I've been watching a lot of shows by Gordon Ramsay. So I've been watching Hell's Kitchen, MasterChef. I just started MasterChef Junior, Hell on Wheels, Hotel Hell, things like that. But I've also been watching Criminal Minds, and I got, I think, into just a couple episodes into season 2, and then that's no longer on Netflix. So I've also have started from season 1, episode 1 of the original CSI, the one that takes place in Las Vegas. And I'm still on season 1. I am on episode 20 now of that. So I've been enjoying rewatching CSI. So that has been fun, and I've been doing that much more than reading. So that's what I've been doing in place of reading. As far as the book on my Kindle goes, it's called My Kind of You. This is a romance. So far it's clean. There's a fair amount of like lust and wanting to know what someone looks like under their clothes or stuff like that. And it's a Trillim Bay series, and it's the first one, and I think there's 3 books out now. So I'm slowly making my way through. Again, I think I have around 50 pages left. So I'll get to that at some point and finish that. The other book that I started in June that I've absolutely been loving is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. And I have absolutely loved what I've read. I am not quite halfway. I am on chapter 10. It's the part 2. So I'm on chapter 10, and I have thoroughly been enjoying it. But where I've been in the slump, I have not picked it up because I don't want to reduce my enjoyment of this in any way. But where I am starting to feel like reading, I think I'll be picking this up some more. So I hope to finish this in the month of July. So I am going to move this over. And that's really all I've read. So I've completed 3 books, 2 of which were the Chronicles of Narnia. And those are both like, I think one was like 101 pages and one was 86 pages. So I have read very little in the month of June. The other one, I signed up for the adult subscription box of Once Upon a Book Club, and my first book box came in June, and it was Fake It Till You Bake It. And the condition I have placed on myself is that I have to stop whatever I'm reading when that box arrives and read the book that is in that box, because I do not want to get a backlog of those, because I just don't have the space to get a backlog of those. So I picked this one up and slowly made my way through it. I'm glad I did. This is an adult romance. It does have a spicy sex scene in it. This, what I liked, was very cute. You have, the main character was Jada, who's here on the cover, and then Donovan is the male lead in this. It's a romance. It is a fake dating, so if you like the fake dating romance trope, then you may like this. My favorite thing about this was Donovan is a football player for the Knights, and he and 2 of his BFFs opened up a cupcake shop, and I think it was in San Diego. It takes place in California, if I remember, called Sugar Blitz, and they make these amazing cupcakes. So the whole time I'm reading this, I'm craving cupcakes. They make red velvet, Oreo, there's a whole bunch. And Donovan is like the manager. He crunches numbers. He's very analytical thinking. And then Jada comes in and just kind of throws his life upside down. And she sees herself as someone who just messes things up all the time. So I liked seeing her growth progression through this. There was not a lot of character development, of course, with it being a romance. There was also not a lot of plot. I finished this one last night, and so I thought I would just kind of give you a little wrap up of this one. I will also be passing this one along because I will not reread it because I do not like explicit sexual scenes. I assumed this one would have one where it does come in an adult subscription box. I assumed it was going to have one, and it did, but it was actually fairly late in, like around the maybe 150 or 200 page mark, something like that. So it's fairly later in the story. I would say that I have read the Talia Hibbert books, like Actor A.G. Brown and Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and so I've read that series. I would say that those are a little bit more explicit than this book was. This is by Jamie Wesley, by the way. I did like the writing. I found it simplistic, at times a little too simplistic, because I felt it was very repetitive with the lusting, and there was a lot of lusting and how good each other looked and how much they loved to kiss. So again, it does start off with the fake dating, and of course with the romance, you do see the progression of that into actually being a couple. So Jada was on a show, and she left the show claiming that she couldn't get this guy out of her mind. And yeah, Jada has a family who is wealthy. Her grandma owns the Knights. So her grandma basically is the manager of Donovan, and Jada is 25 in this. And her grandma, Grams, as she's called, is like, you need to get a job, get your life together. I mean, that's basically her whole family. And so Jada's grandma, who again is Donovan's manager for the team, arranges Jada to work at Donovan's cupcake shop. And so you can imagine from there how it goes. One thing I did like about this that I actually really liked, Jada has dyslexia, and she does talk about that a little bit, how she has that, how she was kind of stigmatized by her parents with it, how they got her the best treatment so that she could learn to cope and handle it. And she's open about that, which I thought was very good. So you do have dyslexia representation in this, which was, I thought, really good. This is the first book that I recall ever reading that has dyslexia up. I don't have dyslexia, but I have had kids in school. When I went to school, some of my classmates had dyslexia. And I do remember that being mentioned and how they were kind of like ashamed of it. But I like how you do get that aspect of where she's kind of like ashamed, where the family's ashamed, but yet she's like, you know what? I've got it, so what? You just learn to cope and deal. And so I did like that. I did not care for the sexually explicit scene, but that's not my thing. If I removed that little bit, which was just a couple of pages out of this, I probably would have given this like a 4-star, maybe a 3.75 more accurately. My favorite part was the ending out of this. I thought the ending was very sweet, and how things just kind of wrapped up and everything like that. The last page of this leads me to believe it might end up being a series. This very much can stand on its own, but it would not surprise me if Jamie Wesley writes another book and it becomes a series, but each, kind of like the Talia Hibbert books, but where each one follows a different character. And in this case, this first one, you have dual perspective, part of the perspective from Donovan, part from Jada. And then I think the way that this ended, was it his friend Arthur? So I think if there is another book, it would follow, I'm trying to see, let's see, link to these. I think it was, August is the friend, not Arthur, August. So I think like if there is a continuation of this, if it is made into a series, it would follow August and then his romance I would not object to reading it. I know I would just go in expecting to have there be another sexually explicit scene, but anyway. So yeah, very cute. Ended up giving it 3 stars, and the only thing that took it down for me was just the sexually explicit scene. And I did feel like the lusting was a bit too repetitive, but I liked the writing, and I am definitely willing to check out more of this author's work. So in the Once Upon a Book Club box, this comes with gifts that you open as you get to certain pages. This did come with a signed book plate, so someone will love that. So I will pass this along because I won't reread it. It did come with a letter from the author. I'll just stick this in and they can have both of those. The gifts were, one was a set of reusable cupcake liners that are like silicone. Another one is kind of like a purpley berry lipstick, which is actually really pretty. And then there was, what else did this come with? A wine glass, which I've let go of so that someone else donated that to a thrift shop so someone can enjoy it, because I don't drink wine. And the word wine was on the wine glass. It's like, what are books without wine? If it just had like an image of a book, I would have kept it and just drank water out of it or apple juice or something. But where it had wine, I don't drink alcohol, and so I just was like, meh, and got rid of it. So someone else that does drink wine could enjoy it, that loves to read and drink wine, then they can enjoy it. So, but yeah, I will donate this and just let someone else enjoy it. So that's it. That's all I've read. So I've read like about 805 pages for the month of June. Not a lot. That is definitely way less than what I normally read, but that's just what happens when you're in a massive reading slump due to pain. The pain can be very bad at times to where it is hard to focus on written word on a page. And then I'm just trying to get through my work shifts with it. So I've just been watching this shows by Gordon Ramsay and CSI, and when Criminal Minds was on Netflix. But so that's it for right now. I will still, like I said, I'm going to film a July TBR video. I am planning on putting this video up before that one, so you have kind of a understanding of why I'm not going to be taking punishments, because I'm not going to punish myself for not feeling like reading because of the pain. I just feel like that's not fair to myself, and I'll pick some books, I'll plan to read some books, but I can't even guarantee that I'll even finish one book. The priority is going to be the next 2 books in the Chronicles of Narnia series, so that is going to be the priority. I think those will be fairly easy to get through for the month of July because they are middle grade. So that's really all I have to say for now. So that's going to be it for this video. Until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book, and I'll talk to you later.